The late afternoon sun slanted across Genoa City like a secret trying to escape. Kane Ashby stood outside Chancellor Winters, staring up at the glass facade that reflected both his past and everything he thought he understood about his future. He had spent years building himself into a man who could stand shoulder to shoulder with the most powerful players in this city. Yet lately, something felt off, like he was walking through a room where everyone else knew the punchline but him. And today, he intended to find out why. Inside, the energy was different. Conversations stopped when he walked by. Assistants avoided eye contact. Even Devon had brushed him off earlier with an excuse so thin it practically disintegrated in the air. Kane adjusted his cufflinks, grounding himself. Whatever was going on, he would handle it. He always did, but nothing could prepare him for what he was about to uncover. Lily stood by the window in her office, her back turned, arms crossed tightly over her chest. She had been staring at the same spot for nearly 10 minutes, watching nothing and everything all at once. Lily. She stiffened at the sound of Kane's voice. Slowly, she turned. For a moment, neither of them spoke. There was too much history in the silence. Love, betrayal, forgiveness, wounds that had healed and scars that hadn't. "You're avoiding me," Kane said, stepping closer. His voice was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge beneath it. "I've been busy," Lily replied. "Don't," he said softly. "Don't do that. Not with me." Her eyes flickered, betraying something she wasn't ready to say. Kane studied her face, reading every subtle shift. He knew Lily. He always had. And right now, she was hiding something big. "What's going on?" he pressed. Lily hesitated. That hesitation told him everything. Elsewhere in Genoa City, Victor Newman stood in his office, hands clasped behind his back, staring out over his empire. He had built this city, shaped it, controlled it, dominated it. But even Victor Newman knew that some secrets, once exposed, had consequences even he couldn't fully predict. And this one was dangerous. Nick leaned against the doorframe, watching his father carefully. "You're going to tell him, aren't you?" Nick asked. Victor didn't turn. "No," he said simply. Nick frowned. "Then who will?" Victor finally glanced over his shoulder. "Lily." Nick exhaled slowly. "That's not fair." Victor's gaze hardened. "Fair has nothing to do with it." Back at Chancellor Winters, the tension between Kane and Lily had thickened into something almost suffocating. "You owe me the truth," Kane said. Lily looked at him, really looked at him, as if weighing whether telling him would shatter everything. "It's not that simple," she said. "It never is," Kane replied. "But that's never stopped us before." She laughed bitterly. "You really think this is like everything else?" Kane didn't answer, because he wasn't sure anymore. Lily took a breath, steadying herself. "This isn't just about me," she said. "Or you." "Then who is it about?" She swallowed. "Victor." Kane blinked, caught off guard. "Victor Newman?" "Yes." That alone was enough to set alarms ringing in his head. Nothing involving Victor was ever small. "Okay," Kane said slowly. "What does Victor have to do with us?" Lily hesitated again, and then finally she said it. "He's been controlling things behind the scenes." Kane frowned. "That's not exactly news." "No," Lily said, "not like this." The words came out in pieces at first, as if Lily was trying to soften the blow. But there was no softening what she was about to reveal. "Victor, he approached me months ago," she began. "After everything that happened with the company, after you came back into the picture." Kane's chest tightened. "What kind of approach?" Lily met his eyes. "A deal." Silence. "What kind of deal?" Kane asked, his voice now dangerously quiet. Lily's fingers curled into her palm. "He wanted influence over Chancellor Winters, not publicly, quietly." Kane stared at her. "And you agreed?" "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" he snapped. Lily flinched but didn't back down. "He said it would protect the company, that there were threats we didn't see, that if we didn't let him in, he'd find another way." Kane shook his head, disbelief washing over him. "So you let Victor Newman get his hooks into the company?" "I was trying to protect everything we built." "At what cost, Lily?" Her voice broke. "At the cost of telling you." That hit harder than anything else. Kane stepped back, as if physically distancing himself from the revelation. "You lied to me," he said. "I didn't lie." "You kept the truth from me. That's the same thing." Lily shook her head. "I was going to tell you." "When?" She didn't answer, because there was no good answer. Kane let out a hollow laugh. unbelievable. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. All this time, I thought something was off. I thought it was business or tension or just life. But this? He stopped, looking at her again. This is betrayal. The word hung in the air like a verdict. Lily's eyes filled with tears. I was trying to protect you. I don't need protecting, Kane said sharply. Not like that. Not by cutting me out. But Lily wasn't finished, and neither was the truth. There's more, she said. Kane closed his eyes briefly. Of course there is. She hesitated, then pushed forward. Victor didn't just want influence, he wanted leverage. Kane opened his eyes. What kind of leverage? Lily's voice dropped. You? The room seemed to tilt. Me? Yes? Kane's mind raced. What does that even mean? Lily swallowed hard. He has something on you. Kane went still. No, he said flatly. That's not possible. Kane! No, he repeated. I've made mistakes, sure, but nothing Victor could use like that. Lily's silence was deafening. Kane's confidence began to crack. What does he think he has? Lily hesitated one last time, and then she said it. Your past in Australia, before you came to Genoa City. Everything inside Kane went cold. There were parts of his past he had buried so deeply he barely allowed himself to think about them. And Victor Newman had found them. How? Kane whispered. Lily shook her head. I don't know, but he has proof. Documents, records, things that could destroy your reputation. Maybe even worse. Kane's jaw tightened. What did he tell you exactly? That if I didn't cooperate, he'd expose everything. Kane turned away, his hands clenching into fists. For the first time in a long time, he felt truly out of control. The implications hit him in waves. Victor had been manipulating Lily, Lily had been hiding it from him, and Kane himself had been the leverage all along. It wasn't just business, it was personal. Why didn't you come to me? He asked quietly. Lily's voice trembled. Because I was afraid. Of me? Of what it would do to you? Kane turned back to her. And what do you think this is doing to me now? Meanwhile, at Newman Enterprises, Victor poured himself a drink, completely unbothered on the surface. He knew the truth was out, and he knew what would come next. The question wasn't whether Kane would react, it was how. Back in Lily's office, the air had shifted again. The shock was still there, but something else was beginning to take shape beneath it. Resolve. Kane straightened, his expression hardening into something new. This changes everything, he said. Lily nodded slowly. I know. No, Kane said. I don't think you do. She frowned. What do you mean? I mean, Victor thinks he has control. He thinks he can manipulate us, use our past, our fears, against us. Kane stepped closer, his voice low and steady. But he's wrong. Lily searched his face. You're not breaking? Kane let out a short breath. Oh, I'm furious, he admitted. At you, at him, at myself. He met her eyes. But I'm not going to let Victor Newman dictate my life. Something in his tone made Lily pause. What are you going to do? She asked. Kane's lips curved slightly, not in amusement, but in determination. I'm going to take back control. And just like that, the balance of power began to shift, because Kane Ashby was no longer in the dark, and that made him dangerous. That night, Kane stood alone in his apartment, the city lights flickering beyond the window like 1,000 silent witnesses. He replayed everything Lily had told him, every word, every implication. Victor had leverage. Victor had power. But Victor had also made a mistake. He had underestimated Kane. Kane picked up his phone. He hesitated for only a moment. Then he dialed. Newman Enterprises, came the voice on the other end. I need to speak to Victor, Kane said. There was a pause. I'll see if he's available. Kane waited, his heart steady, his mind clear. For the first time since learning the truth, he wasn't reacting. He was planning. When Victor finally came on the line, his voice was as composed as ever. Kane, Victor. A beat of silence passed between them, two men measuring each other across an invisible battlefield. I assume you know why I'm calling? Kane said. Victor's tone didn't change. I can imagine. Kane's grip tightened on the phone. You've been playing a dangerous game. Victor let out a soft chuckle. Everything I do is calculated. Then calculate this, Kane said, his voice dropping to a razor edge. I'm not your pawn. Victor didn't respond immediately, and in that silence, something shifted, because for the first time, Victor wasn't entirely certain of the outcome. Kane ended the call, his expression set. The truth had changed everything, but not in the way Victor expected, because secrets didn't just destroy. Sometimes they forged something stronger. And Kane Ashby was about to prove it.